It's gut-wrenching. It's atrocious to hear that something would happen like that, especially to two young children. You know, just the other day I saw them playing outside in the snow, and to think that they're not here anymore is just, it's heartbreaking.
On December 19th of 2023, in Colorado Springs, a 911 call was received from an apartment at Palomino Ranch Point just before 12:30 a.m. The caller reported a burglary. When officers arrived at the scene, they found a 9-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy deceased, and an 11-year-old girl, an adult female, injured. The adult woman, identified as Kimberlee Singler, is the mother of the children, and now she's a suspect in their murders. In fact, she was arrested in the United Kingdom on December 30th of 2023 because she literally fled the country. And so it's taken 2 years to extradite her back to Colorado. She just arrived before Christmas in 2025. Now what we're going to do today, I'll give you a quick recap of the case, and then we're going to look at this newly released criminal complaint. So the probable cause affidavit, which tells us many more details that we didn't know before. Please know that this is for educational purposes and for adults only, and it absolutely comes with a trigger warning because it involves the murder of children, and allegedly at the hands of their own mother. Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. So on that day, December 19th of 2023, Kimberlee and her 11-year-old daughter were treated by EMS at the scene, and they were taken to the hospital. Kimberlee was allowed to leave the hospital at that time. The police were still investigating the scene, initially reported as a burglary, and they didn't have probable cause at the time. The Colorado Springs Police Department Homicide Unit took over the scene, and it was determined that the claims of a burglary were unfounded, and just wait till you hear all those stories based on this document. And they issued an arrest warrant for Kimberlee on December 26th of 2023. Based on the charges, they believe that Kimberlee murdered her 2 children and attempted to murder the other one, who's now 13 years old, was 11 at the time, right shame, and then staged the scene. I mean, this is just as bad as it can possibly get. Kimberlee and her ex got divorced in 2018, and they were going through a bitter custody battle. She'd filed a motion with the court to move the 3 children to Florida in 2021, and she asked for the court to give her immediate sole and temporary parental responsibility over them. Her ex-husband opposed the request, and in October of 2022 filed an emergency motion with the court to prevent a potential child abduction by Kimberlee. She also filed motions to restrict the children's time with their father, which was granted by the court on September 29th of 2023, pending an investigation into a domestic violence incident by Kimberlee's ex-husband. We're going to get more into that from this document. However, the court ultimately found that Singler's ex was not a danger to the children, and so they ordered Kimberlee to bring the children to their father for a scheduled visitation on December 16th of 2023. On December 17th, her ex-husband filed an emergency motion, because she didn't bring the children, to enforce the child custody agreement that was in place. But unfortunately, the next time that the children were located was the day that they were found deceased, and of course one survived but was very injured. The children who were found deceased died from gunshot wounds. However, based on what we're going to go over in this document, she did something else first. Okay, and also had lacerations on their neck. Both children also had elevated levels of doxylamine, a sedative, in their systems. The surviving daughter initially corroborated Kimberlee's account, but later stated that her mother had administered a powdery substance in milk to the younger children, guided them into a bedroom with their eyes closed, and allegedly told her that God made her do it. Authorities believe the acts occurred on December 18th of 2023. An arrest warrant was issued on December 26th of 2023, charging Kimberlee Singler with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted first-degree murder, 3 counts of child abuse, and 1 count of assault. She fled the United States shortly after the incident and was located in London's Kensington area. She was arrested without incident by the UK authorities on December 30th of 2023, and that's where she spent 2 years until she was finally extradited. So, on December 23rd of 2025, Kimberlee Singler, now 37 years old, was extradited to the United States and taken into custody in El Paso County Jail. That's the same jail that Letitia Stauch spent time in before her trial. She's held without bond. Her first court appearance is anticipated in the coming days, followed by a preliminary hearing within 30 days to determine if the case proceeds to trial. She denies all the allegations. Now, if you've missed my coverage on this case, I will link all the previous episodes in the description box and the pinned comment for you, so it's really easy to find. And you can also see the most recent press conference with District Attorney Michael Allen that we watched together just a few days ago. If you're watching, today is December 27th of 2025. And there they also explained the extradition process and actually said it happened a lot faster than it sometimes takes. Sometimes it could take over a decade to get someone extradited. So yeah, thankfully they managed to do that. Now, are you ready to read this probable cause affidavit with me, which is 14 pages long? And that means, yeah, there's a lot of details in here. You know, some PCAs might be a page or 2, maybe 4 pages. 14 pages of detail that we have kind of wondered about for 2 years, especially if you followed the case with me right from the beginning. Thank you so much to Grizzly Cat for obtaining this document for us. Okay, it says attachment A. Now you can see, if you look at the date here, look at the date filed. It does say December 26th of 2023, which makes sense because that's already when they had a warrant for her arrest and they already had all this probable cause. They just had to get her back home. So attachment A, it says the following affidavit is submitted to the court to document the probable cause in support of a request for the issuance of an arrest warrant for Singler, Kimberlee, date of birth redacted, age 35 at that time. Now she's 37, right? This offense is fully documented in Colorado Springs Police Department, report number 2346877, detailing the offense of murder in the first degree, ×2. Criminal attempt, murder in the first degree, class 2 felony. Criminal attempt, murder in the first degree, class 2 felony. Child abuse, class 2 felony, 2 counts. Child abuse, class 3 felony. Assault in the first degree, class 3 felony. With the victims identified as date of birth, so female, age 9. I've got the pictures of the victims here. I'm in shame, man. Just look at them. And then a boy, age 7, and then female, age 11, now 13. And the district attorney said, of course, you know, she's going to be a key witness at the trial. So you know what? If Kimberlee had any humanity, which I don't think she does, in her, please do the right thing and plead guilty. Don't put your daughter through that, right? If you're going to continue on this path, you're going to put your daughter through that. She has to get on the stand and say what you did when you put fear in her to first corroborate your story. Man, I'm so glad that the surviving child was so brave and was able to tell the police, you know, actually, no, that's not what happened. Let me tell you what actually happened. I mean, that must have taken so much courage. So it says, your affiant, Detective Rebecca Joins, 4314, a police officer for the Colorado Springs Police Department and so employed for over 11 years, is now currently assigned to the homicide unit. State under oath that I have personal knowledge of the following facts, which are fully documented in CSPD case report number. On December 19th of 2023 at approximately 12:29 a.m., the Colorado Springs Police Department Communications Center received a 911 call from a female, later identified as Kimberlee Singler, stating that someone came to her apartment and attacked her, and the children's names are, of course, redacted. Her address was identified as, officers were dispatched to a burglary in progress, and upon arrival, they found 2 deceased children, their names redacted, of course. An additional 11-year-old female was transported to the Children's Hospital, and Kimberlee Singler was transported to Penrose Main Hospital with injuries. The 2 deceased children were found in the bedroom, lying in bed together. The girl had an apparent slash wound to her throat. While it was unclear if blank had been shot or stabbed, officers observed a gun, determined to be a .22 caliber semi-automatic handgun, on the floor outside the bedroom closet that was covered in blood. Officers observed live rounds on the closet floor, and during scene processing, 3 spent cartridge cases were located in the bedroom closet. The handgun was later collected, and when examined, it was observed that the magazine and the live rounds in the magazine had blood on them, indicating to your affiant the suspect loaded the firearm after they already had blood on their hands. The scene is a first-floor apartment with a single bedroom. Responding officers did not observe any signs of forced entry into the apartment. There are 2 entry doors into the apartment, one being the main entry door on the west-facing wall and a patio door on the north-facing wall. Both entry doors provided direct access into the living room area of the apartment. The patio door was closed and the blinds were closed as well, but there was blood on the carpet leading to the patio door and on the interior doorknob itself. There were footprints in the snow outside of the apartment near the patio door, but it was unknown if these were recent. Redacted provided a brief statement to officers prior to being transported to the hospital. She said that she was sleeping on the sofa bed in the living room area at the time of the attack. She told officers that this happened a few hours ago and the mail came in the side door of the apartment. She said Redacted possibly came over for a Christmas gift exchange, and officers did see open Christmas presents inside the residence. No further information was obtained from her at this time. I assume from that, because it's kind of difficult here and there because of all the redactions, which the court did. There's some additional redactions, that Grizzly Cat did just for addresses and things to comply with YouTube's community guidelines. But most, 99% of these, it was done by the court. So here and there, we've got to really think, wait, who are they talking about now? So I believe that paragraph we just read would be while the 11-year-old was being transported to the hospital, she told the police, yes, a man came in and then attacked us. And then with the Christmas gifts being opened, it could have been referring to the father of the children. Maybe came over for a Christmas gift exchange, or it could be Kimberlee Singler's mother, who I think owned the property where Kimberlee was living with the children. Kimberlee said, redacted, later identified as left town yesterday and was to return that day. The scene is reported as Redacted's apartment. That would be her mother. Kimberlee initially reported the attack possibly happened at 11 a.m. on December 18th of 2023, although it did appear that Kimberlee was not fully coherent. Okay. Kimberlee did not identify a potential suspect at that time. It was reported that she later told a nurse at Penrose Main Hospital it was Redacted who did this. Oh, you're going to blame it on your ex immediately, hey? Okay. Officers located premise history at the residence that had apparent DV nexuses to them. On November 17th of 2023, there was a call for service regarding threats made by Redacted. This is the ex-husband. So Kimberlee had made this call for service saying that her ex-husband was threatening her, right, and the kids. So she said, in which he threatened to kill the kids. Now, I do want to just insert it could be possible that this was happening, but I've seen a pattern, over the years of following this case and all the court documents we've seen along the way, and even how they're saying it here. I think that there's a possibility that Kimberlee made all this up to try to get full custody of the children, to try to paint the dad in the worst light possible. And he always fought, these issues in court, and he always won. So they didn't find any evidence of anything that she was saying. So just remember that. Remember that this is Kimberlee's story and her calling the police with this. However, I also keep it in mind that there's a possibility that this happened, right? Last side note, I do want to say though, wow, Kimberlee Singler claims, we'll see later, that she protected the children. She gave them the best life possible, but then you're accused of murdering them. So any shade you could throw at your ex, what you are accused of doing is, I can't even put a number to it. You can't say 10 times worse, 1,000 times worse, 1,000,000 times worse. It's just the worst possible. How could a mother do this, right? Okay. So, a call for service, right? November 17th of 2023, in which he threatened to kill the kids, she said. The notes in that call screen stated that Kimberlee informed officers the incident that she wanted to talk about occurred in 2022 in Larimer County. Kimberlee showed officers printed pages of call logs and text messages which the ex had provided to the courts. Officers noted that they did not observe evidence to support a stalking had occurred. And note the date, November 17th of 2023. The murders happened December 19th of 2023. There was an escalating battle over the custody of the children. So I think she started, in my opinion, coming up with lots of things to tell the court of why he shouldn't have custody at all. Okay, so she even at one point took off to Utah with him. So then it says, Kimberlee showed officers those printed pages, right? Officers noted they did not observe any evidence to support a stalking had occurred. There have also been domestic violence-related protection orders and harassment calls for services as well between Kimberlee and the ex. Due to the nature of the initial investigation, members of the CSPD homicide unit were assigned to this case to further the investigation. Your affiant located a domestic violence report from September 8th of 2023, during which Kimberlee reportedly pulled a knife, pulled a knife on her during a redacted at the address. The ex told officers that he walked up to Kimberlee's door and she came outside with some gifts to him from, I would assume, the children. He stated that this was weird because normally the children come outside without Kimberlee and he never sees Kimberlee during these exchanges. He stated that Kimberlee was acting weird and shaking during the interaction. He stated Kimberlee handed him a picture drawn by one of the children of a bag of leaves and something plastic that was wrapped in a paper towel. He stated that he grabbed the item in the paper towel and discovered that it was a small paring knife with a 2-inch curved blade and a yellow handle. He stated that he dropped the knife and left the area. He stated he immediately thought that Kimberlee was trying to frame him because she isn't doing well with the custody battle. Your affiant looked into the redacted and redacted proceedings documented under Larimer County Court Docket Number and saw the arrangement was altered in November of 2023 and the ex-husband was awarded the additional time. The court notes stated that the children were supposed to be transferred to him on December 16th of 2023 through December 31st of 2023. That's when he was supposed to have the kids. December 16th to December 31st. When did the murders happen? December 19th. And she failed to give him the kids on December 16th. An emergency motion was filed on the 17th. You see what I'm saying? Wow. Okay, it wasn't like she was losing the kids forever at that point. She just literally, they had to go to him for Christmas and they'd be back just before New Year's. Shared custody. The dad's allowed to, okay? Okay, so on December 19th of 2023 at approximately 9:04 a.m., your affiant responded to a home in Grizzly, Colorado and informed him, the ex, of the deaths of his children. And one was injured, right? He was not previously aware of what occurred in Colorado Springs with redacted and explained that he'd been working from approximately 11:30 p.m. on December 17th of 2023 to approximately 2 p.m. on December 18th of 2023, after which he returned home. Your affiant was able to confirm with his employer that he had clocked into work on December 17th of 2023 at 11:28 p.m. and clocked out at 1:26 p.m. on December 18th of 2023. Your affiant was further informed that he drove a truck route in Thornton, Colorado during that time. Your affiant was provided with records from, his work, which showed that his GPS tracked the route. These records confirmed that he was driving in the area north of Denver at the time that Kimberlee reported the attack occurred in Colorado Springs. Your affiant asked, redacted, about the arrangement, and he explained that he tried to have the children picked up by, his lawyer on Saturday, December 16th of 2023. But Kimberlee did not respond to his lawyer's request until Saturday morning, and Kimberlee did not agree to give the children to the lawyer. Kimberlee told her ex-husband's lawyer that she was out of town and wouldn't be back until Wednesday night. The lawyer filed a motion with the Larimer County Court to enforce the pickup time on Sunday morning, December 17th of 2023, and on Monday morning, December 18th of 2023, they were notified by the court that Magistrate Esser issued an order for Kimberlee to bring the children to court on Wednesday, December 20th of 2023, to exchange, the kids, or to exchange the children prior to this date. Whoa, it's like the murders happened right before she was supposed to hand the kids over in this custody exchange, right? The court notes stated that a voicemail was left for Kimberlee regarding this order on December 18th of 2023. Your affiant was able to observe that order and saw that it stated, if petitioner fails to exchange the children prior to this court appearance, fails to bring the children to court, or fails to appear for court, the court will entertain further argument regarding more drastic measures, such as issuing a warrant instructing law enforcement to take physical custody of the children. Redacted and Redacted expressed concern that Kimberlee was involved in the deaths of the children, but could not provide any specific reason why or describe any threats that she made outside of Kimberlee telling him that he would never see them never see the children again during an earlier custody dispute in the summer of 2023. After Kimberlee was released from the hospital, Detective A. Gardner, 5166, conducted an interview with her at the Police Operations Center. It was noted that Kimberlee sustained cuts to both of her wrists and both sides of her neck. It did not appear that Kimberlee had defensive wounds. During the interview with Kimberlee on December 19th of 2023, Kimberlee said that she suspected that her ex-husband was the one behind all of this, as she suspected that he sent someone on his behalf. She talked about her relationship with him, and she said that he always tries to frame her. Sounds like she's projecting a lot there, hey? Okay. That there's never physical evidence to tie to him, that he's trying to get her arrested and the kids taken away from her. Kimberlee told Detective Gardner that the ex-husband previously told her of a vision that he had where he killed her and the kids. In this vision, the ex-husband described shooting the kids but did not describe what happened to Kimberlee or the children. Kimberlee said that she felt that he had tried to kill her when they were, don't know what that redaction would be, and only explained that Redacted would leave the doors unlocked and people would show up at the house and sit out front. Okay, Kimberlee expressed that the ex and his attorney are playing games with her and waited for her to be evicted so they could complain to the courts that she was moving to make it difficult for her to see the kids. Kimberlee gave some historical context to the court hearings regarding the ex and the kids. She admitted in court to the dream that she said that he admitted in court to the dream that he had of killing the family and of other concerning behaviors that she would bring forward, but the court found him credible and her not credible. Kimberlee questioned who else would have the motivation to do this besides him. Damn, like day one at the police interview, you're already like, X did it. Okay, and you used this nightmare that he had that he told you about, which was literally a dream. He didn't do anything to anyone. You try to use that against him, but then you also, the crime seems to match that. You try to make it look like that's what happened. Oh my word, okay. Kimberlee talked about a recent arranged, redacted. The children, I guess, or somebody was sent to get the kids on December 16th of 2023. That was the lawyer. Kimberlee said that she was confused and it made her look bad, as she did not take the kids even after having been contacted by the police. Kimberlee said the ex was supposed to have the kids for 2 weeks, ending December 31st of 2023. Kimberlee told Detective Gardner that she knew that the ex would file something and try to take the kids from her. When asked if anything had been filed, Kimberlee said she did not know, as she did not look. Okay. Kimberlee talked about her checking the status of court motions in the case through an online e-file system with the Larimer County courts. She's like, I didn't look at all. You looked. You probably looked obsessively. You knew you had to hand over the kids. And before you did that, they were dead. One severely injured, survived, thankfully, but my goodness, the trauma. Kimberlee talked about what happened, and she said she woke up feeling weird and woozy and wondered if someone came in and did something the night before. Okay, nice and vague. Kimberlee described the kids, the two that were deceased, as sleeping in late and acting drowsy as well. She said she forgot to lock the patio door, so the patio door had been unlocked from December 17th of 2023. Okay, premeditated. On December 18th of 2023, at approximately 11 a.m., we're talking broad daylight, she was in between the living area and the only bedroom in the condo when someone entered through the patio door. Kimberlee believed that person must have attacked the kids first. So it says she was going to the bedroom. So the daughter first. As she was going to the bedroom, the suspect grabbed her upper arms from behind and spun her around. Kimberlee could see the suspect as a dark figure, but could not provide a further detailed description. Kimberlee assumed the suspect was a man because of the strength and height of the person, but had no additional details regarding the suspect. Now, once I'm done reading this entire document, and once you're done listening to me read the entire document, I would love to hear your comments, your thoughts. Do you believe her stories or not? Me? No. I think she's in the exact jail where she belongs, where Letitia Stauch was. And my question for her would be, was this dark figure, was his name Eduardo? Did he drive a Tiguan? If you watch the Letitia Stauch trial with me, you'll understand why I say that. Did he speed off in a Tiguan? Okay. Kimberlee discussed having a medical condition that causes her to faint or lose consciousness frequently. And after the suspect grabbed her, she fainted. When Kimberlee regained consciousness, she was on the sofa bed in the living room and saw that her 11-year-old was next to her on the sofa bed and had sustained injuries. Kimberlee got up and locked the patio door, after which she went to the bedroom and found the two children dead on the bed. She reported she covered them both with a blanket. When she saw the daughter, she thought that she looked uncomfortable, even though she knew she was dead. So she put a pillow under her head. That's all kinds of effed up, if you ask me. Also, psychologists will say that usually if a killer covers the person's face or like puts a blanket over, like in this scenario, they do feel a sense of shame about what they did, just a little bit. I don't know if they could actually feel remorse or guilt depending on which killer we're talking about. This is an alleged killer, right, who's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But the covering with a blanket, to me that indicates there could be some feelings of shame there. Can't really look at what you have been accused of doing, right? But don't you think that's so weird to say she thought she looked uncomfortable even though she knew she was dead, so she put a pillow under her head? Okay. Also, before I continue, you might ask, well, how did the 11-year-old survive? Earlier reports, when we followed the case way back when, said that the 11-year-old begged Kimberlee, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. And she somehow spared her life, but she did have horrific injuries that she had to recover from for quite some time. So, that is so terrifying. Now, Kimberlee said at that point she was very weak and faint. So she had to go lay down back on the sofa bed next to her 11-year-old. So you're telling me you woke up a little woozy, you walked over to the bedroom, you saw your two children deceased, put a blanket over them, pillow under their head, can see they're dead, and then you went back for a nap? Literally, guys. Okay, so Kimberlee stated she was able to get water for, I guess, her 11-year-old throughout the day to keep her comfortable. But she did not have the energy to look for her cell phone. Kimberlee said she was also too weak to get a neighbor, and further was worried that the suspect was waiting for them outside. Kimberlee said she was waiting for her mother to return home, but she never returned. Kimberlee said just before calling 911, her phone randomly started playing music, and later they say Christmas music. That's so eerie. She's in the house with 2 dead children and 1 severely injured needing immediate attention, and she's like, I'll just give her water throughout the day and take a nap. And take a couple of naps. I'm just feeling a little bit weak. Okay, nap time, everyone, on the sofa. And why? If we're going to read the whole thing, I think she was literally waiting for her mother to walk in and be like, what happened? So that her mother could be part of the story. But her mother was delayed because she was out Christmas shopping, staying over at a friend's house. So that didn't happen. Her plan failed there, okay, in my opinion. All right, so just too weak, okay, to go and look for a phone, call a neighbor, or call 911. Okay. Kimberlee said just before calling 911, her phone started randomly playing music, which alerted her to its location. And she was able to find her phone and call the police hours and hours later. Another statement made by Kimberlee during the interview was that she felt that the suspect injured her and cut her wrist to make it look like a murder self-deletion if she were to have died. Okay. After the interview with Kimberlee was completed, she was released, pending further investigation. While Detective Gardner was conducting an interview with Kimberlee, and while the scene investigation was being conducted, Detective J. Gasper, 3337, was assigned to respond to the Children's Hospital to determine the medical status of the surviving daughter and to determine if she could provide any suspect information or description of the assault or homicides that occurred. She was in surgery initially. However, once surgery was complete, she was moved to the pediatric intensive care unit for recovery. She was able to provide Detective Gasper with a description of what she recalled about the incident. She stated that she was watching YouTube on the TV in the living room while sitting on the couch. She said that Kimberlee Singler had the side patio door open. She said she thought the door was open to let some air into the residence. She stated, and then the person came in and cut me with a knife on my neck, and I was the first one, and that's kind of all I remember. Detective Gasper asked if she remembered what the person looked like. She said it was just a man, and added that she had never seen that person before. She stated she didn't believe that she would be able to recognize the man if she saw him again. She explained the door that was open led to an enclosed patio, and it was the patio door that was open. She explained at the time of the incident, when it occurred, her, sister, brother, and her and Kimberlee were all home. She said they lived with, their grandma, who was not home, and that she was with her mother, Kimberlee, on the couch, and that Kimberlee was in the only bedroom in the residence at the time of the attack. Oh, really? Oh, Kimberlee was in the bedroom, in the only bedroom. That's where the 2 deceased kids were found. Now remember, based on what we're going to read further, it is alleged that Kimberlee coached her surviving daughter to say this for her. That in itself should be a damn crime. In order to attempt to establish a timeline as to when the attack occurred, Detective Gasper asked her about what time of day the man entered the residence. She stated it was still bright outside and it was going into the afternoon hours. She said that if she had to guess a time, she believed the incident occurred between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Detective Gasper commented that it was dark out when the police were notified of the incident. She explained that Kimberlee couldn't find her phone. She described herself as laying in the apartment and was in pain, and she encouraged her to try find her phone to call for help. She stated that Kimberlee was helping her get water while she was unable to find her phone. She also stated that she tried to go to sleep, but she was awake for a while. She said that she got some naps in during this time frame, however, but she was kind of awake. She added that during the time frame that she was in the apartment after the attack, Kimberlee stayed with her and was trying to make sure that she was okay. Kimberlee would go check on her siblings, but she rested with her just to make sure that she was okay. She said they were resting in the living room on the couch. Detective Gasper inquired about whether there was any discussion about leaving the residence to try to find help. She stated that she encouraged Kimberlee to try to go outside and ask for someone's help. Again, this is coming from an 11-year-old at the time. The 11-year-old's like, yeah, I was trying to get my mom to go outside to call for help. She stated the reason that Kimberlee was eventually able to find her phone was because loud Christmas music started playing from the phone, which allowed for Kimberlee to locate the phone and call the police. While at the hospital, Detective Gasper contacted Redacted, who was the physician responsible for care. Detective N. Black, 5400, and crime scene investigator CSI A. Hartman, 6850, conducted the scene investigation, while interviews and additional follow-up activities described above were ongoing. There were several notable items of evidentiary value that were observed or collected during the scene investigation. In the kitchen trash, the following items of evidence were located. Empty prescription bottle prescribed to Kimberlee Singler. This is all public record. I'm not sharing anything that I'm not supposed to be sharing. This is provided by the courts. This is a YouTube disclaimer, just to let YouTube know. Filled at King Supers. That's where it was picked up from. And so the medication is redacted, but there were 60, quantity 60, take 1 to 2 tablets by mouth every evening as needed. Description of tablets, round white markings, dispensed on the 30th of November of 2023. Written 30th November 2023, no refills. This is Unisum, 2 empty boxes for Unisum sleep tablets, 80 count tablets, 2 empty bottles of Unisum. Oh damn, 2 empty bottles. That's a lot of sleeping pills, just empty bottles. Okay, Advil liquid gels. 1 empty box for Advil liquid gels, 200 milligram, 160 count tablets. This bottle was observed in luggage in the bedroom near other over-the-counter products. Then, ripped up court documents from November 17th of 2023. Okay, court hearing related to the Larimer County court case number. Okay, you might as well be like, look at this. Here's a whole bunch of medications and the court documents that set this all off. You know what I mean? Yeah. Furthermore, the kids, the 2 deceased children, were located on the bed within the sole bedroom of the apartment. The boy was laying on his back, facing up towards the ceiling on the right side of the bed, as viewed standing at the foot of the bed. His right arm extended downward toward his torso, and his right hand was resting on his stomach. The daughter was to the left and was laying on her right side facing left. She was observed to have significant injuries to her throat. After the El Paso County Coroner's Office responded to the scene, she was moved. Investigators located a round white pill underneath her body. The pill had markings of, that's all redacted on it. Also located in the bedroom to the right of the bed, as viewed standing at the foot of the bed between the closet and the bed, a .22 caliber semi-automatic firearm was located. The firearm was on the floor just outside of the closet. There was apparent blood located on the exterior of the firearm. When investigators ejected the magazine from the firearm, it was noted that there was apparent blood on the magazine and ammunition contained within the magazine. The finding is consistent with the suspect handling the firearm after at least one victim had been severely injured based on the quantity of blood located on the firearm. Investigators could not determine if either of the children had been shot while at the scene, and the investigation was ongoing. Now, do remember that. When investigators were there at the crime scene, looking at the children's bodies, which, oh my goodness, the things that some of these, what they have to see sometimes, it must haunt them. You know what I mean? That must be horrifying because they're like, oh, we're responding to a burglary. Okay, let's go. And then it's like you see the most horrifying scene ever of children with their throats slashed and things, right? Remember now, just pin that in your mind, okay, that they were not able to tell that these children had also been shot. They saw the neck injuries, they saw a lot of blood and all of that, okay? As investigators continued with the scene investigation, it was noted that there was no cast-off blood stains or blood spatter on the walls, furniture, or any other location within the apartment. This finding is consistent with the suspect causing severe lacerations on or to multiple victims' necks, while those victims would be unable to defend themselves for some reason at the time of the attack. You mean like being dragged, right? Or tied down, but in the scenario. On the living room floor, near a mattress with pink bed coverings in the middle of the room, a knife was located. The knife had a black handle and silver blade. There was apparent blood located in multiple areas of the knife, including the blade and handle. Investigators examined the patio area previously described by the surviving 11-year-old, now 13. Investigators noted there was no disturbance in the dust or dirt on any railing of the patio or on the ground around the patio. There were no obvious footwear impressions in the snow outside the area leading directly to the patio. Additionally, there was no blood evidence found on the patio and the patio furniture, which was positioned just below the railing. It was neat and orderly. Additionally, there was no blood evidence located in the front porch area or on the walkway leading to the front entrance to the apartment. On December 20th of 2023, redacted of the El Paso County Coroner's Office conducted the autopsies for the 2 deceased children. It was determined that the daughter, the 9-year-old, sustained a gunshot wound to the top and center of her forehead. This injury was not visible until her hairline was cleared and examined in detail. It was noted that stippling was present. Your affiant advises the court, based on training and experience, that stippling is only present when a gunshot is fired within a relatively close range of fire. An exit wound was located in the middle of the back of her head, yes, and she also sustained severe lacerations to the front of her neck. Man, the manner of death was determined to be homicide. Upon examining the deceased boy, 7 years old, they noted a gunshot wound to the left side of his forehead. This injury was not visible until his hairline was cleared and examined in detail. An exit wound was located behind his right ear, and a projectile was recovered from his right index finger. He also had superficial laceration to the right side of his neck. The manner of death was determined to be homicide. It was noted that neither of the 2 deceased children had defensive wounds. The evidence on scene and observations at autopsy led investigators to believe that had to be moved after redacted, so I don't know which, I think it's the daughter, had to have been moved after having been shot. It appeared that her right hand was likely under, the little boy had to have been moved after having been shot. It appeared that his right hand was likely underneath his head at the time of the shooting, based on the fact that a projectile was located in his right index finger. And their own mother is accused of this. Later in the day, on December 20th of 2023, after having been released from the hospital, this 11-year-old surviving daughter participated in a forensic interview regarding events from the evening of Sunday, December 17th of 2023, through the time when officers arrived during the early morning hours of Tuesday, December 19th of 2023. The forensic interview was completed by investigative specialist J. McKnight, 6567, at the Police Operations Center. It should be noted that investigators did not observe her to have visible defensive wounds during the interactions with her prior to, during, or after this interview. In addition to the above statement she made during her previous interview with Detective Gasper, she stated that she saw a man standing on the exterior of the apartment prior to the attack. She stated that she saw a man climb over the balcony on the exterior of the apartment and break into the apartment via the patio door. She described that this was the same person who attacked her and caused her injury. She said Kimberlee and the other 2 kids were also cut, and again described how Christmas music played on Kimberlee's phone, which allowed them to find the phone and call for help. She recalled that when police arrived on scene, they told her to be careful because there was a knife laying on the floor nearby. She described the knife as a kitchen knife, but she was unable to provide a description of it. She said the knife felt rigid as she was being cut by it. She said that she didn't know if the knife was his or if he got it from the kitchen. She didn't see the man go into the kitchen prior to the attack. She stated that she thought she fainted after she was attacked. When further describing the naps that she took after being attacked, she stated that she only really remembered the last time she woke up. She described being scared and stated she was in pain. She tried not to look around because she was scared. She recalled seeing Kimberlee and remembered that Kimberlee, was also injured. She said that Kimberlee did not talk to her about what happened during the incident, and Kimberlee was trying to comfort her. When discussing Kimberlee's actions, she said she didn't really see Kimberlee looking for the phone. She described Kimberlee had cuts and was in a lot of pain. She said that Kimberlee couldn't really look for the phone because she was in pain. She said that Kimberlee, her mother, would occasionally stand up to look for the phone, but couldn't further describe attempts to locate the phone. Investigator McKnight inquired as to whether weapons are kept in the residence. She stated she didn't think so unless redacted at something that she didn't know about. So I guess the grandma, right? She speculated as to the possibility of Kimberlee having a gun, but said that she didn't really know. She stated she didn't recall hearing any gunshots during the incident. She further stated she didn't learn that her siblings were deceased until she was at the hospital. Oh my word. When asked to better describe the scene, she stated the window coverings on the patio door were open. The blinds were fairly straight, but were pointed downward slightly. She described the window coverings covered the length of the window. Your affiant advises the court that the living room blinds, the patio door blinds, and the bedroom blinds in the apartment were all fully closed, in the fully closed position when officers first arrived on scene. In addition, there was no blood observed on the strings of any of the blinds, which would indicate the blinds had been in a closed position prior to the stabbing occurring. During the forensic interview, she described an impromptu Christmas party on the evening of Sunday, December 17th of 2023. She said that she thought her, I guess that would be dad, might come pick them up, which is why she believed they celebrated Christmas early. She said that Kimberlee was acting a little different that day because they were celebrating Christmas early. She stated that Kimberlee wasn't telling them everything, and she stated that it was a complicated situation with her dad. She described that Kimberlee gave her and the other two kids medicine that same night. See why I say drugged? Medicine, okay, which they had never taken before. She said they did have a cough, which is why Kimberlee gave them the medicine. She said that the medicine that she gave them tasted disgusting and yucky. She further described the medication as having a powdery feel. She said that her two siblings had to take extra medicine because she, I guess, the 11-year-old had been feeling better. So the other two had to take extra medicine. She said they also took cough syrup at Kimberlee's direction. She stated that she gave them milk and water. So I would assume the 11-year-old stated that Kimberlee gave them milk and water to help them drink the medicine and continuously apologized for them having to drink it. Ooh, that's just so irritable. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you have to drink this. You're sorry about that? Well, yeah, because you, Kimberlee Singler, seem to have known what would happen next. Wow. Okay. Allegedly. She also stated that she experienced an upset stomach after drinking the medicine and she felt tired, but acknowledged it was normal for her to feel tired that time of night. It should be noted that she did test positive for the flu while she was at the Children's Hospital. McKnight asked her where Kimberlee got the medicine from. She said she believed that Kimberlee might have gotten the medicine from King Soopers because that's where she got all the medicine. She was asked to describe how Kimberlee gave her the medicine, and she told investigator McKnight that Kimberlee gave it to her in a mug with tan-colored exterior and a blue-colored interior, which might read, "You are redacted and you are crazy." I don't know what that redacted word could be. Could be a swear word, right? Based on her statements, photographs taken at the scene were reviewed and a mug was observed which matched the wording provided by her. However, that mug was white in color. A mug with a tan-colored exterior and blue-colored interior with the phrase "better late than ugly" was also observed in the photographs. Both mugs in some way were described by the surviving 11-year-old was unable to describe the mugs used by. She described that she missed school due to being sick the Monday to Thursday prior to the attack. She explained that she had a stuffy or runny nose and a cough. She said that while she was sick, Kimberlee didn't give her the powdery medicine. This was a new medication that was given to her. Redacted, who after the initial investigation began, had been placed in, so this is the surviving daughter, had been placed in protective custody of the El Paso County Department of Human Services, DHS, was further placed with a foster family after the interview was completed. Later in the evening, on December 20th of 2023, Detective Gardner conducted another interview with Kimberlee. Detective Gasper conducted an interview with Redacted simultaneously. Kimberlee made the following statements to Detective Gardner during this interview. Kimberlee mentioned that she was in between the living room and bedroom when she heard her two kids talking, and she was grabbed, which caused her to nearly have a heart attack. She said she was spun around and everything was a blur. She said she remembered dark, as if they were wearing dark clothing. Now, that redacted name up there, I would assume it's her mother, right? Anyway, she said her mouth was covered before she blacked out. Kimberlee said she woke up on the bed by the surviving daughter, She woke up on the bed by and was afraid that redacted had died. You woke up on the bed where your 2 children were deceased? Okay. After realizing redacted was alive, she asked her how she was doing. That would be the 11-year-old. After checking her out, Kimberlee said she got up, was feeling woozy, but went to check on the other 2 in a room where they were last seen. I just want to go back to this sentence quickly. So she said her mouth was covered before she blacked out. She said she woke up on the bed by. That would be the 11-year-old. But the thing is, there's only one bedroom with a bed where the 2 deceased children were. This other one was a sofa bed. So maybe she means the sofa bed, okay, in the living room. Okay, so, wow. So it says she got up feeling woozy, but went to check on the other 2 kids in the room where they were last seen. Kimberlee said she saw one of her kids on the bed and a gun on the floor. So she checked on the kids. She said she saw bullets in redacted's forehead and she felt their head, and she described them as having a big bump on the left side of his head. So it seemed like he had been shot too. Regarding other injuries she saw on, Kimberlee said their necks had also been slashed. See, she's going with a narrative already of like, yep, they were shot. But investigators didn't know that at the scene. Remember what I asked you to put in your mind? Okay. Kimberlee talked about covering the 2 deceased children up with a blanket because she didn't know what to do. And it was a horrible sight. After returning to the living room, Kimberlee noticed the patio door, was slightly ajar, so she got up and closed and locked the door before laying down. Kimberlee did acknowledge nobody else was in the apartment when she woke up. Kimberlee again mentioned she did not have the strength to look for her phone and figured her mother would be home in the afternoon and that she would call 911. That was your plan, huh? When asked why she did not go and seek help from neighbors, Kimberlee said that she was so weak and she didn't have the strength to go wandering around. Oh, my word. Kimberlee reiterated that she was able to find her phone after it started playing music, and then she was able to call 911. Kimberlee did mention she saw the knife on the bed after she woke up and eventually grabbed a hold of the knife and placed it on the floor. Kimberlee did not recognize the knife as being one from their kitchen. Regarding medication she gave to the kids when they were recently sick, Kimberlee said she gave a liquid form of children's Tylenol to the 2 deceased children, and all 3 kids got cough syrup. Kimberlee mentioned she recently got a prescription for a sleeping pill as she had been suffering from insomnia. She said she tried the sleeping pill once, but it made her feel groggy, so she did not keep using it. So you just gave your children all of them, or what? Why is there empty bottles? Okay. Kimberlee denied having any concerns with redacted, even though she knew the location of the gun inside the apartment. Oh my word. She thought that this was done by whoever was watching her in October of 2022. She made the following statements to Detective Gasper during the interview. Detective Gasper asked her to describe what had occurred in the 24 to 72 hours prior to the incident. She explained that there was a planned exchange between Kimberlee and her ex on December 16th of 2023, Saturday. I think this is now interviewing Kimberlee's mother, because I think she was with her there in that interview, right? She went on to explain that they arrived, I guess the lawyer arrived at the CSPD Stetson Hill substation to take the children for the ex-husband. Kimberlee did not allow them to take the kids because the kids were supposed to be exchanged between parties per the agreement. Kimberlee considered the lawyer to be one of the parties, or the ex-husband to be one of the parties, and did not consider the lawyer to be a party authorized to take the kids. Therefore, Kimberlee did not relinquish, the children at the time, custody of the children at the time. The lawyer became involved in this particular incident, and it was determined that the exchange would take place on December 21st of 2023, Thursday, and explained that, this is so hard to read with redactions, my goodness. Redacted wanted redacted of the kids, and there was an ongoing custody battle between Kimberlee and her ex. She went on to explain several incidents where they displayed concerning behavior with the kids. Guess the ex. During this conversation, she explained that Kimberlee has not been able to afford an attorney and has been handling all of the custody issues on her own. She explained that judges in Fort Collins or Grizzly have repeatedly not listened to Kimberlee's claims about perceived concerning behaviors regarding the ex-husband, despite evidence that Kimberlee has provided to the courts. She explained that according to statements made by the kids and by Kimberlee, the ex is not a protective parent and provides little structure for the kids. She explained that Kimberlee provides protection and structure the kids need. Yeah, clearly not. Do you know what I mean? Clearly not. She's capable of allegedly killing them. Oh my word. Okay, so despite Kimberlee's efforts to restrict the dad's time, the courts repeatedly ruled that there was no evidence and would give him his time back, his supervised time with the children back, or I don't know if it was supervised, his time back, his custody time back, and extra time was awarded for the time missed while court proceedings took place. Yeah, the courts found no evidence to back up your claims, Kimberlee Singler. And even gave the ex-husband the extra time for the missed time while the court proceedings took place. She went on to explain several instances in which there were allegations of menacing with a knife, guns in the car with children, and issues regarding child support and spousal support payments after Kimberlee and the ex got, I would explain, divorced. She explained that Kimberlee accused him of threatening her with a knife, but no arrest was made. She said that Kimberlee knew him to have many guns, and he would keep them in the car with the children, which was perceived to be unsafe. The grandma, I guess, explained that there was an incident that occurred last year in which Kimberlee left the state with the kids and drove to Utah. Kimberlee reported that someone was watching her at the residence, and when she left, people were following her to Utah. She explained that Kimberlee did what she felt like she needed to do in order to keep the children safe. Detective Gasper and Redacted discussed whether or not Kimberlee has ever sought mental health assistance to help her deal with the stress caused by this custody battle. She said no. She stated that Kimberlee has not been diagnosed with any mental health conditions. She said that Kimberlee has a thyroid condition that is hereditary, and the only medication that Kimberlee takes is to treat the thyroid condition. She stated that she did not know Kimberlee to have any issues sleeping, nor was she aware of Kimberlee taking any sleep aids to deal with issues sleeping. Probably because she didn't. She probably got it to knock the children out. Okay. She stated that she was aware that the two deceased children sustained gunshot wounds to the head. She said that she couldn't help but think that the ex-husband was somehow behind this, that he hired somebody to do this. Detective Gasper inquired as to how she knew that the two deceased children sustained gunshot wounds to the head. She said that Kimberlee told her that the kids have gunshot wounds and that Kimberlee was aware of the gunshot wounds because she found the kids. Oh, wow. Do tell us more, mother. This is the grandmother, right? As a reminder, investigators on scene were unable to observe any gunshot wounds to either of the deceased children, and the presence of any gunshot wounds was not determined until the autopsies were completed. You busted. Redacted advised Detective Gasper that there was a firearm in the house which was registered to, don't know who, can't guess. She explained that the firearm was given to her youngest, who currently lives in Korea. According to somebody purchased the firearm and gave it to, I would assume, Kimberlee for self-protection purposes. Stated the firearm was kept in a box in the closet and that the firearm was never loaded. However, she believed that there was ammunition kept in a smaller box in a different location within the closet. She said that she assumed that the firearm was located where she last put it. She further explained that she hadn't physically seen the gun in the past year. She said the only people who would know where the firearm was kept was herself, Redacted, and Kimberlee, which I would assume Redacted could either be her son or the ex-husband. She explained that her residence is relatively small, as is her bedroom closet. She alluded to the fact that there are limited spaces for the firearm to be stored. She also stated that she couldn't imagine Kimberlee being able to do something like this. She said that Kimberlee really loved and protected the kids. She asked Detective Gasper what Redacted saw, and Detective Gasper told her that he couldn't provide her with specifics as to her statement. I guess that's the surviving 11-year-old. Detective Gasper advised that she was alive and did see some things during the incident. No specifics were provided regarding her statements. She stated that she was not home at the time of this incident. She explained that on December 17th of 2023, Sunday, she was with a friend and intended on spending one night at a friend's residence after they were going to go Christmas shopping that day. She was away from home on December 18th of 2023, Monday. She reached out to Kimberlee several times and was unable to reach her. She said Kimberlee has a bad habit of not returning messages. She stated that she sent Kimberlee a message later in the evening on December 18th of 2023 and advised her that she'd be home early the following morning. You see that? Oh, you're going to be home the next morning, December 19th of 2023, Tuesday. This message was sent to Kimberlee because Redacted was watching a movie with her friend, the grandma, and it got late and she decided to spend a second night at her friend's residence. Regarding the kids being ill, she stated that she, along with the kids, had been sick on and off since the week of Thanksgiving. She said the kids got sick twice during this time frame. She advised that one of the kids had a cough for an extended period of time. She said that Kimberlee had also been sick during this time frame. She said Kimberlee took the kids to an urgent care a couple of times when they had the flu. The children were prescribed antibiotics to treat the illness and suppress the symptoms that they were experiencing. She could not recall which doctor Kimberlee took the children to. According to her, in the days leading up to the incident, one of the kids had a cough and the other had a runny nose. She said the illness symptoms did not appear to be too serious. She described that the symptoms she observed were symptoms of a common cold. Detective Gasper showed her photographs of a Unisim box that was located in the trash at a residence during the scene investigation. She advised that the medication did not belong to her and she could not explain where it came from. She stated she was unaware if Kimberlee was taking sleep medication or not and had no knowledge of the Unisim being in a residence. Detective Gasper also showed her a digital photograph of the knife located at the scene. She examined the photographs and stated she did not recognize the knife located at the scene. She pointed out differences between the knife, which had blood on it, and knives she had in the silverware drawer. She indicated she did not believe the knife that appeared to be used during this incident came from her residence. She stated that she knew that Kimberlee had knives of her own that were Cutco brand, which were kept in her detached garage number 18, which is located near her residence. She advised that Kimberlee's knives were being stored in a box in garage 18. She consented to a search of the garage, which was later completed by your affiant, and the knives were sealed in storage boxes. She stated she asked Kimberlee if she recognized the knife located at the scene, and Kimberlee said no. Detective Gasper then showed her digital photographs of the firearm located at the scene. She identified this as being the same firearm that she kept in her closet. She described the firearm as being a Beretta. She also identified the firearms magazine, which was depicted in a separate photograph. She told Detective Gasper that Kimberlee also stated that she thought that she would be coming home on Monday afternoon. She reiterated that she felt like something could possibly had been wrong when Kimberlee did not respond to her messages on December 18th of 2023. She recalled that Kimberlee told her after the incident that the firearm kept in the apartment was used to shoot the children. You busted. She asked Kimberlee how anyone would have known where the firearm was, and Kimberlee's response was, "Somebody must have been watching me." She said it was far-fetched that somebody would have been watching Kimberlee if she manipulated the firearm. She also questioned why Kimberlee would want to look at the firearm to begin with. During a break in the interview with her, Detective Gasper collaborated with Detective Gardner and other members of the investigative team. Detective Gardner was also taking a break from his interview with Kimberlee. It was determined that the grandma and Kimberlee would be placed into a recorded interview room together, while investigators continued to complete follow-up on the case. Investigators monitored the interaction between her and Kimberlee via live feed video. The following statements were heard by investigators. Ooh, do tell us. She told Kimberlee it was only the two of them, Redacted and Kimberlee, who knew where the gun was located. Kimberlee said that someone had been watching her. She told Kimberlee no one would be watching inside the house. She then questioned who would be watching inside the house from the outside. Kimberlee responded by saying, "A creeper who was planning on killing someone?" Kimberlee said that is what murderers do. They sit and watch people. Kimberlee further described people as being creepy and having sneaky ways. Look in your plastic mirror in your jail cell, okay? Maybe she's in the exact same cell Letitia Stach was. Just look into it and say those things to yourself. Yeah, you could describe yourself as creepy and having sneaky ways. During further questioning by the grandma, Kimberlee said that she had taken the gun down in November as she was going to bring it in to show an officer. She acknowledged this did not make sense and talked about the probability of that someone outside watching her through a window is so unlikely. Kimberlee said they could have been using binoculars. What kind of movies is she watching, man? Kimberlee asked how many times, the grandma asked Kimberlee how many times she'd go into the closet and look at the gun, and Kimberlee said it was just the one time. She commented that the person would have to be there at the right time, to which Kimberlee said that they would have had to have been consistently watching her. She asked Kimberlee if she'd been taking sleeping pills. So this is Kimberlee's own mother asking her questions, right? She's asking her, were you taking sleeping pills? Kimberlee said yes, so she'd not been sleeping. She told Kimberlee that she told Kimberlee she was so secretive about what she does, but Kimberlee denied this. Kimberlee mentioned her sleeping patterns were off, so she tried some sleeping pills. She asked if Kimberlee had taken them all, and Kimberlee said she had taken one whole bottle. But she told police she took one, and it didn't work for her, so she stopped taking it. She said she had taken one whole bottle. She said that she was really upset and appeared to be referencing what this investigation is about. Kimberlee responded by saying that she was too, but said she really wanted to leave because it was taking a long time. Wow. She told Kimberlee that Redacted knew who attacked her. Kimberlee questioned that she knew and further stated that was interesting, which I assume the grandma saying, well, the 11-year-old knows who attacked you. And Kimberlee says, doubt it, but interesting. Kimberlee looked at her mother after this was mentioned, but never asked who said attacked her, referencing to, and said, poor child. And Kimberlee responded by saying, yeah. Wow. While talking about, I guess, pickup or custody arrangements and who would make decisions, while talking about, I guess, funeral arrangements and who would make decisions about burials, Kimberlee said that she had redacted, but then commented that they, presumable the ex and his attorney, technically filed their order on the same day, December 18th. Kimberlee said that she did not know if they said he would get custody custody of them until the hearing, or if she was just giving the kids to him until December 31st, as it was his time. That's a weird answer to that question. Okay. Detective Gardner entered the interview room with Kimberlee and her mother. Detective Gardner mentioned that, based on interviews and physical evidence at the scene, there were things that did not add up. As a result, DHS would not allow supervised visits with the surviving daughter. Detective Gardner talked about how there were very few people who knew where the gun was kept, who had access to it, who would know that the door was unlocked but not open. Kimberlee replied, Okay, so you're just agreeing with them? Oh, they're looking at you, man. All right. Kimberlee was told that between what the surviving daughter told investigators, what Kimberlee had said, and what the scene shows, it did not make sense. Kimberlee was asked if there was any way that she had hurt the kids and herself. Kimberlee said no. Regarding evidence, Kimberlee said that she did not know and thought that they, the suspect, probably were wearing gloves. Kimberlee was told by Detective Gardner that he had to look at the evidence that he had, and he cannot discount evidence that we don't find. Detective Gardner continued by telling Kimberlee that she had said it was probably really well planned, and she previously said it was crazy, and she did not know how someone else knew where the gun was unless that person was watching. Detective Gardner mentioned that she said that she did not know if it was possible for just one person to watch her. Detective Gardner told Kimberlee that this did not sound reasonable to her, and she is redacted. Detective Gardner mentioned that previously she did not talk about the knife, but today she said she picked it up and moved it. As the conversation continued, Kimberlee was asked if she had anything else she wanted to say. Kimberlee said that she hoped Detective Gardner can find what he can find. She further said that this is why she had told Detective Gardner that since he, the ex, always turned things around on her, she assumed that he would try to make it look like she did it. Again, to me, you're projecting. You're trying to make it look like he did it. Anyway, as Detective Gardner was talking about the direction the investigation was pointing him, at you, ma'am, Kimberlee said that he just keeps doing things and getting away with it. She asked if it came to looking like she did it, what could she do? Okay, plead guilty, do the right thing. Okay. Kimberlee was told that she has provided lots of examples of what her ex has done, being manipulative, spinning things, and has a lawyer who does the same things. Detective Gardner told Kimberlee this, referencing to the investigation, was not the time. It was not about. It was not seeing the kids for 5 months. It was the shooting of 2 of the kids in the head and slashing their throats. Kimberlee replied, yeah. So the police are saying, ma'am, we're not talking about custody here, okay? We're talking about the murder of your 2 children, all right? Focus. And she says, yeah. Detective Gardner asked Kimberlee how those things can logically be compared. Kimberlee responded by saying that aside for the fact that the ex has always been abusive and a liar, he has told her in the past that he has fantasized about killing them. And he had talked to demons and would be okay if something bad happened. Kimberlee said he's made strange, creepy comments and that she felt that he was capable of doing anything. Ultimately, after hearing the line of questioning and statements made by Detective Gardner, she said that she thought Kimberlee needed an attorney. The grandma was like, oh my goodness, my daughter, she needs an attorney. The interview concluded a few moments later. Attachment A. This is page 12 of 14. On December 21st of 2023, your affiant conducted a follow-up interview at the Police Operations Center. During that interview, your affiant asked, redacted about a conversation that he had with A, identified as, which your affiant had been told about by his employer. So now we can assume, based on all of that, the clues are there, that now they're talking to the ex-husband. Okay. So said a few months prior that he and had been talking about the kids and mentioned should watch the movie Throw Mama from the Train, but didn't say anything further about it at the time. He stated that he later asked what the movie was called, and when he was told the name, he tried to watch it but didn't like it. Your affiant is aware that part of the plot of the movie is that 2 people will commit a murder for each other, so neither is suspected when someone close to them is killed. They explained sometime after that he was drunk and came over to the house. Redacted explained sometime after that somebody was drunk and came over to their house where he asked him what he thought of the movie. He said that Redacted further made statements that they should do that for each other, but kept changing the subject. He said he never asked whoever to do anything for him and never gave him Kimberlee's address. Hey, you're talking to a friend of the ex, huh? I don't think it's the lawyer. This is a friend? My goodness. Okay. We got to follow the clues of this PCA is its own investigation with all these redactions, right? Okay. So, drunk came over to the house, okay, saying that all of this, they could commit murder and cover for each other. All right, so he did not want Redacted hanging out with their group anymore because of what they suggested. That was informed his employer of that information after learning of the murder of the kids, which was then relayed to your affiant. Your affiant also asked Redacted about the dream he had. See, now that would be about the ex. He asked the ex about the dream that he had that had been mentioned by Kimberlee. He stated in either 2016 or 2017, he was at a hotel and had a nightmare that a dark demon figure approached him in the hotel room and told him to kill the kids and Kimberlee. He said it was a nightmare, but it felt so real that he was disturbed by it. He said that he and Kimberlee were still, I guess, together at the time, and he thought that he could talk to her about it. And he told her that he would never do that. He stated Kimberlee has used it against him ever since. Your affiant asked Redacted if he remembered exactly what the figure said in the nightmare, and he stated, "You're going to kill Redacted, or I want you to kill whoever and whoever, the kids and Kimberlee." Okay, we can assume. But that again, that was a nightmare, and he told Kimberlee about it, and he says she used it against him in all these custody battles ever since. During that interview, Redacted agreed to have his cell phone data downloaded. He advised your affiant that he was into criminal law type stuff, and she would see in his phone a couple of months ago where he was binge watching criminal cases that had happened, including family loss and murderers who thought they'd get away with this type of stuff. He said he watched those videos on YouTube and they had millions of views by people, and he just wanted to make your affiant aware of it on his phone. He's a true crimer, okay. Your affiant contacted regarding the statements previously made to, and he said he was intoxicated when he was at, and denied making the statements described by records. Your affiant asked where he went after work on that day, and he said he went home. Since the time of the initial investigation, investigators worked collaboratively with the CSPD Metro Crime Lab, MCL, and the Colorado Bureau of Investigations, CBI, to expedite DNA processing on items of evidence that were DNA relevant to this investigation. One of these items was the knife located at the scene. On December 21st of 2023, the MCL provided a report to investigators which stated that the knife had been processed for DNA and several conclusions had been made. The following conclusions were made by MCL. The DNA was located on the handle, both on the right and left sides. The DNA testing confirmed the presence of blood. There was a mixture of two contributors. The major DNA profile was determined to match the DNA profile of Kimberlee Singler. On December 23rd of 2023, the CBI report concerning the DNA testing on the handgun was provided to investigators. Of note, DNA from Redacted and Kimberlee were found in various locations on the handgun. Kimberlee Singler's and Redacted's DNA was found inside the magazine as well. Based on the investigation, to this point, only Redacted and Kimberlee Singler knew the presence of the handgun and its location within the bedroom closet. So that would be the grandma. The grandma was not home on December 18th of 2023 when the attack occurred. Therefore, it can logically be deduced that Kimberlee was the individual manipulating the handgun, which caused her and Redacted's blood to get into the magazine as well. That would be her daughter. On December 25th of 2023, Sergeant K. Dabb 2029 was contacted by the 4 and told Sergeant Dabb that it told her the truth about what happened and that she lied to everyone before. When asked what she said happened, the what reported and said that Kimberlee did it and told her to lie about it. So there we have where it came from, where it was reported that the surviving daughter decided, I'm going to tell them the truth. My mother did it and she told me to lie about it. Took a lot of courage. She mentioned that she had been feeling awful about the lie. There's a whole lot of redactions above this. She asked Redacted to call 911 and told her that she couldn't find the phone. She thought it was hours from the time that she asked her to call when she actually called 911. So the surviving daughter had asked Kimberlee, her mother, please call 911. And she's like, can't find my phone. And it was hours later when her mother actually called 911. She talked about the Christmas music playing from Kimberlee's phone and said that was when she found her phone and said that she could call 911. She also talked about the adventure, which went on for about a month, sometime in 2022. She said that she took them from their house and drove them for hours before telling them they were going to stay in a hotel. She stated that she told them that they were being chased by demons and people who were doing witchcraft. Oh my word. That's when Kimberlee probably went to Utah, right? She took the kids and fled to Utah and said that demons and people who were doing witchcraft were following them. She said that Kimberlee told them not to tell anyone that she had said that because she would sound crazy. Yeah, there's definitely a mental health factor here, right? Your affiant would note that on December 24th of 2023, so it's after all these interviews are conducted and all this, and her daughter's still recovering in hospital, a missing persons report was taken for Kimberlee Singler. It was at that time that I covered the case as a manhunt. We were like, where the heck is she? Kimberlee's mother reported that she had last spoken to her on December 23rd of 2023 at approximately 7:30 p.m. and later received a text that Kimberlee was going to see a movie. When she woke up on December 24th of 2023, she saw Kimberlee's vehicle was not in the parking lot of the hotel that they were staying, and she was unable to locate Kimberlee. She told officers the last time she went missing, she was found in St. George, Utah. And Kimberlee had recently spoken about wanting to live in Florida. Officers checked Kimberlee's hotel room and found all of Kimberlee's items had been removed. At the time of this affidavit, Your affiant has not been able to confirm where Kimberlee Singler is located. And little did they know, just a few days later, the UK police would be arresting her. Based on the information listed in this affidavit, your affiant believes Kimberlee is a danger to child, possibly also to, I guess, her mother, maybe also her ex, and is also a risk of fleeing the jurisdiction. Yeah, she already did. Because of that, your affiant is requesting an elevated bond of $10 million. Unfortunately, Kimberlee made it out of the country, went to the UK. She was arrested on December 30th there of 2023 and spent 2 years in jail there. Damn. And then was extradited back just recently. 2 years later, she's back. Oh my word. Your affiant would respectfully request that probable cause be found that Singler, Kimberlee, date of birth, did within the city of Colorado Springs, county of El Paso, state of Colorado, commit in violation of the Colorado Revised Statutes 1973 as amended, or 1973 as amended, the offense of it, all those we discussed earlier. So that was a lot of detail, right, that we didn't have before. And it's absolutely horrifying, if you ask me. Now, do let me know in the comments section below, do you believe her story? I mean, it's always possible, right? And I'm sure some people might believe her story. To me, all the evidence that they're telling us in this PCA is pointing directly at Kimberlee and her behavior of literally fleeing the country while her surviving daughter is recovering from her injuries, which is also cuts to her neck and stuff. Wow, you really have no soul, do you? You're just going to abandon your 11-year-old daughter? You're like, oh, well, I can't see her anyway. I'm out. You're going to abandon your mother? You're just going to leave? Go to the UK? Yeah, to me that indicates guilt. In my mind, she's very, very guilty, but I'll have to wait till the trial, right? So we could see some evidence and see what all the state has. If this trial is live streamed, I really look forward to watching that with you. This probably is going to take some time though, you know. It might take another 2 years to actually get to trial or more. Hopefully not, but we shall see. I'm just so relieved that she's back in the USA now. She's back in Colorado in the El Paso County Jail. And I believe she's now being held on no bond. Okay. And you stay there. Okay, until the trial. Unless she pleads guilty before then. I don't think she's the type, because she seems to be just still at this point just denying everything. So yeah, she's not there yet. But okay. She is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, so let's see where this investigation goes, what the next court hearing will be, what the preliminary hearing, pre-trial hearings and all of that, what more we learn along the way. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you haven't seen the previous episodes and you want just a little bit more context or to see where this all started, you could check those out in the description box, as well as I've put them in the pinned comments too. And then I will see you again in the next one. In the meantime, stay safe.